Hey, what's up, guys? Max here. So, Kabam addressed a couple of concerns regarding Battlegrounds. So, the title of this, it says Battlegrounds Addressing Concerns and Future Improvements Dev Diary. So, before we start kind of just covering some of the points here, I was just going to start with my thoughts inside of this. I think this post was very appreciated from my point of view. It is something kind of like I think I think maybe some of the community needed just some reinforcement that Kabam, the people behind in charge of Battlegrounds in this specific game mode, are listening or paying attention or hearing the people complaints and concerns regarding Battlegrounds. There's a lot of stuff going on, not just obviously. I mean, they start with the bugs, but let's say bugs. They say the cheaters, the modding involved, and kind of like the just messing around with the system, the way it's set up. There's so much going on right now in Battlegrounds. It's crazy. It can just be MCOC Battlegrounds and like nothing else, and that would tie. That would be a game in itself, right? But very glad that they put this post together. Yes, they even talked about inside the post how they don't have a timeline and how that might not sit well with a lot of the people. I think overall, even though they don't have a timeline, I think this is maybe we can call this like a foundation that we can kind of look back and follow up with. So they put a couple of bullet points, right? And we can go back and whether honestly, I got this, and this is the sad part. I got this feeling that this obviously they said this is not going to happen this season. It's probably not going to happen next season, and who knows? Maybe it's 2 seasons, 3 seasons from now, we're going to start seeing some of these points that they talked about start being implemented. So the idea there is to give us hope. I think overall, if as they get these new techs and new systems implemented and tested, I think a good point would be to kind of follow up on this post, meaning like, hey, this is where we're at. Not like give us a bunch of details, but maybe just a short summary saying we back in March we talked about the bugs, and as I mentioned, we mentioned blah 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 blah, like something along those lines, and said we have tackled these and we are fairly positive that these should not be happening again. And if they do, blah, 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 let us know. Along with that, we talked about the cheating and the new tech. And the tech is being tested and it should be implemented season X, where we have now more of a date and timeline. Even though they might not be giving us all, but maybe a follow-up in April or the next season would be great. Because I wouldn't want this to be a post that gets hidden, because every month there's all kinds of new news, new stuff, new updates, something new that comes up. And Battlegrounds is going to be here for a while, whether you like the game mode or you're not liking the game mode, especially the guys out there, the players out there that love the game mode, want to see this kind of get fixed, want to see this really become a better playing experience overall, right? So am I happy with the post? Yes. Am I like bummed that these concerns are not going to happen this season or next season? Yeah. But I'll take what we got right now and just appreciate the fact that they're aware of it, they're working on it, and I think that's a good step in the right direction, But a little concerning that we're still going to be dealing with a lot of the modders, a lot of the kind of like playing around with the meta and Battlegrounds throughout the season, maybe. So, with that information, again, I can't tell you how to play the game mode. I can't tell you what you should be doing. What I can share is on my live streams, the thoughts that go through my head consistently and what I end up doing and kind of my strategy behind it, and that one's more kind of like on the personal, the way how I'm playing the game right now at the moment. If you guys haven't seen the pattern, there is a very pattern that's so obvious And it's not, this video is not me to be kind of like preaching my point of view here. But, you know, until my favorite game modes, my enjoyment gets really addressed and fixed, which I think this is going in the right direction again, will my kind of like spending, and it's gonna make me feel better about what I spend and purchase in this game, you know? So like, I don't know. But anyways, let's talk about this post and what Kabam in there is saying. So some of the bugs that they addressed here, they gave us a couple of bullet points, and some of them we've actually noticed live, you know, playing and receives. We haven't seen this one. I haven't got hit, knock on wood, on this one. Player receives 0 victory medals for winning a match, but players are assigned their first draft pick. That we constantly see all the time. Players forfeit appears a match history as a loss, and we've seen that happen a few times, not as much as this one. Unable to choose defenders and attackers. There was a point that the attackers and defenders were completely invisible. Like you couldn't even see them. I didn't even know what I drafted. That was almost it was comical. I was laughing the whole entire time. I couldn't believe that was actually happening. Fights beginning with less than intended time of 2 minutes. That one might have happened. Might have not noticed. I wonder if that one happens both ways. Like if I'm attacking somebody and they're on the other end, do we both get the same amount less time? That one's interesting because that one's a huge disadvantage if only one player gets that one as opposed to both. If that's what's happening, man. But yeah, some of these bugs, Kabam goes in here and says like that is their priority. They want to make sure that the game mode is bug free or bug less or as many less bugs. Of course, every single update, every single change that happens to the champions, to certain game modes, might affect Battlegrounds. So I think it's going to be safe to say that we're always going to have 1 or 2 bugs, but they are tackling these serious ones, as you can see in the bullet points. And again, the terminology of new tech is being introduced here, especially on the bugs, saying that new tech to make it easier to identify and reproduce these issues internally is being worked on. So really, really glad that I think this is going to be solved a lot sooner than we think. When I was feeling when it comes to the changes. Now, the cheating. Okay, so the cheating, they go in and describe a couple of seasons. Season 3, where the auto detection system completely failed. Maybe wasn't working. Maybe thought it was working and wasn't working at all. Season 4 is and so on. They kind of tackle on the seasons, but they do go in and say, and this is one thing I know about the cheating myself, is that players are actually testing Kabam's algorithms. That's one thing I do know. Okay, I can't say like what they're testing it with because I don't want to know. What I can, and I don't know the accounts. So what I can say is that they're being tested, and Kabam, you know, as much as like, Kabam is, I'm trying to help Kabam to like, not me personally, but like saying, hey, you know, here's some info, right? So like, they just unfortunately have to be on it, man. The cheating situation is gonna happen. And even if Kabam tries to like build this ginormous wall around Battlegrounds so that no cheating and hacks and modders come through and play this specific game mode, there's going to be people that are going to be trying to figure it out. Okay. And right now we can see that the players have kind of like figured out, you know, and there's players out there that know code that just know how to work around the systems. And then, you know, don't mind sharing that with other players and be like, hey, look, I figured out a way. Let's just use this, use that. And I think that's what's happening. So I think there's always a workaround. A lot of info has been given to Kabam on when it comes to like accounts that I think have noticeably cheated or slightly cheated. It's not very obvious, but it's very like subtle. And I think hopefully they grabbed a lot of data from that. So, whether you're cheating now, or you're not cheating at the moment and you're thinking of doing it, I would definitely stay away from it. Because part of the whole cheating and part of the how, if you go into this post and you read further down into it, you're going to see people kind of like address, how the punishment is being dealt. And we kind of know from previous past that Kabam doesn't really punish as hard as probably the players want them to, especially the non-cheating players, especially the players that are playing the game legitly. They want to see a bigger punishment on the players that are just saying, "Hey, you know what? I don't even care about this. I will cheat." And there's a specific mindset on the cheating. There's multiple ways to think about it. There's even one that people think about it as a like, and I don't get that one. Is like, hey, we're cheating because Kabam is too expensive, and we're not gonna give them a single dollar, and so this is our way to saying, like, we're not gonna participate in that part, but we're gonna cheat our way. And once we're at the top, I guess they feel like they've accomplished the rewards and they feel better about it. But that's honestly not the way to play this game, because you're going to get bored and you're going to give up and you're just going to be like, all right, like everything is like beatable to you. So where's the challenge? Where's the fun in that? I mean, I think they end up turning their mods off and then they end up playing the game normally. But once they reach a point where they can't they can't progress more, then they turn it back on. I think the fun part, just, if anybody that cheats is watching this, maybe it kind of relates to you. But like, I think the fun part is getting to know the champions and just becoming better and better. Like, you see me struggle a lot on the live streams. I can make content and video of me showing like a point of view of like a pro player that I could be like putting out there and just showcasing like I make no mistakes. But when you see it live, you see the mistakes. You see like a lot of the issues that I have in game when it comes to like not fully knowing every single champion. There's a lot of champions to know and how to play them. I think there's now more than one handful. I think now I'm actually getting to the point where I'm like, hey, like I know not just this bunch of champions, I know these, and I'm adding to that and adding to that. So overall, making me a better player. But yeah, guys, try not stop it. Is cheating. I do want to see that Kabam punishes the cheaters a bit more. I hope that they're open to that when it comes to the cheating involved in Battlegrounds, specifically Battlegrounds, since this is all we're talking, and there's cheating in every single game mode. But this is, again, post regarding Battlegrounds only. So they're working on new tech to catch them. But in the meantime, guys, I'm gonna talk about the elephant in the room. They're gonna get away with it for the next season or two. So whether you want to be a player that's like, dude, I don't want to deal with them, I'm not gonna play. That's a decision you make. There's, how many times are you gonna come across them? Hopefully it's not much. But yeah, it completely sucks when it comes to cheating and just the players that are cheating currently in Battlegrounds. I know, I like I said, there's big accounts that at the moment just, said, yeah, let's cheat because apparently everybody else is doing it. I think that's catching in a wrong direction, meaning like they see people, they see their account get cheated on, but it's by these unknown accounts. And now these big accounts are actually putting these hacks and mods on their account, and so they're like, dude, everybody's doing it. Well, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but I know based off this information post, we don't have much that they know about right now. So, get away with it while you can, and hopefully Kabam, again, this is a game mode that I enjoy, and I know this video might be very repetitive, but hopefully soon, meaning like in the season, Kabam addresses the cheating involved. The tech gets tested. The tech gets implemented, and tech is always gonna have to be tweaked and tweaked and retweaked. So I hope that does come in sooner, because the cheating over the season resets, over the matchmaking, over the climbing, or over the bugs is what's driving a lot of the community mad right now. It's not so. It's everything. I get it. And I thank you so much, Kabam, for addressing all the bullet points here. But bugs are one thing. Obviously we have them. There's kind of unavoidable, just because that's kind of how mobile games sometimes work. But developers and people behind the back scenes try to do their best to avoid them. Once one comes out, they figure out a way. They fix it, right? Seasons, the way the game mode is set up, season resets, the matchmaking, the climbing, all that. Yes, there's going to be fixes and tweaks along the way as we get better, as we go through the seasons and stuff. Season 20 is not going to look like season 4 and 5 right now, but the cheating needs to be, I think, priority. I think this, and I'm glad it's the second bullet point, to be honest, when it comes to their priority list. Bugs, Battlegrounds is my major, fixing the bugs in Battlegrounds is a major priority to us. That should be the same for cheating. And it's just, and this is why we haven't even moved, and we're almost probably 10 minutes into this video and just still talking about the cheating involved in Battlegrounds. It needs to be high up on the list. That tech hopefully gets implemented very quickly, tested to make sure that people with what they see currently or have cheated in the past triggers. The question is, though, guys, that you're not going to be getting hit with the mods that people have used in the past. Okay, you're going to be getting hit with new mods. So the system needs to be able to like what if I'm a player and I'm playing the game mode and I take X champion versus Y champion, and I know X champion cannot, for whatever reason, especially with the meta, beat this Y champion, and I end up doing it with little health, with lost, and you look at it and your tag doesn't detect that because it took a while. It took a minute and 20 seconds to do the fight. It seems about right, but it's impossible to do that fight. That's what's happening right now. But again, like I said, that is my biggest concern right now out of all of them. For me personally, the bugs are annoying. A lot of players are like, no, the bugs I hate the most. And there's everybody's point of views here. Bugs I hate the most. Like, I hate losing when I have no chance. At least versus a cheater, I might have a chance to outsmart them on the draft and beat them. That's there's different points of views overall, but cheating for me is huge. And like I said, tying it back to my personal point of view of the game mode right now or the game in general, is once that's clear and it's smooth and implemented, then I would be more open to hey, I do want to go out and buy this new champion, because I think he's going to provide my account and myself a lot of great utility, and I'll be able to compete, and I don't have to worry about cheaters. So season reset, matchmaking, and climbing, we're gonna kind of bundle this together because don't want to break them down individually, but they are looking into that. They're looking into the season resets, how players get basically drafted into a bucket if players made it all the way to the gladiator circuit from the victory track, and then they're going to group them. The more I thought about this, before I thought about it too much, I thought this was going to be a great tool, but the more I think about it, it is going to be very difficult for sure. It's going to probably drive players to be like, damn, I made it to the gladiator circuit, and I constantly make it to the gladiator circuit season after season. So now I'm going up against these tough players. So that is kind of like the place I'm at. So you're just going to have to know that you're going to be going up against like very hard players. So how is your win rate losses gonna be then? Because I think overall, I'll tell you from my perspective, my point of view, I make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes I do end up in the gladiator circuit quite often. A lot of it is strength of roster, some knowledge of champions, some play, the way I play it sometimes. Do I belong there with the guys that are in the top 100? Not at all. It's gonna create this weird, I think, and I hope that they figure this one out, because it's gonna create this weird situation with the guys at the top, where they're either playing themselves all the time, and that's where they just need to. What if they stop logging in? What if they stop playing because they're like, hey, I'm just gonna chill from Battlegrounds? Who's that number 2, number 3, number 5, number 20 players going to be playing up against? I mean, I'm sure there's always going to be players playing, but they shouldn't be playing with the other bottom, and I think we've seen that happen quite often. So it's an interesting situation for Kabam to have. I don't even want to think about how that, is being resolved, but I'm glad that they're looking into it. So looking forward to seeing those results, to see what ends up happening, because that one's tricky. It's going to be hard to satisfy a lot of people. I think for sure, though, the fact that players, smaller accounts are being matched versus, let's say, an account like mine, that is very, that shouldn't happen. But then there's also the situation where now that my account's bigger, I'm going to be matched up with, and other people too that have grown their accounts over the years and years and years, but don't dedicate that amount of time and skill into it to really know every single champion the way some of these players do dedicate time, right? It's going to be tough. The upside of this, though, guys, there's always sometimes an upside, is that if you find yourself in those situations over and over again, there's only but up to go. You're going to reach the bottom, and you're going to reach the point where you're just like, I just can't get better. But you're going to keep using those champions, and eventually you're going to get better. You're going to figure out how to play that champion properly. You're going to spend the time to, actually, the champion you threw into your deck that was for defensive purposes now is needed for offensive reasons, and you got to figure out how to play that champion. So that's going to happen. Hopefully that ends up being the story that you can tell after seasons, that, hey, I got better at this champion. So after saying no to this champion, I finally decided to say yes, and I became better. So the matchmaking, that's part of it, I guess. That's kind of what they're talking here when it comes to matchmaking concerns. How you pair accounts with other accounts and stuff. There's matchmaking manipulation at the high end of this Battlegrounds. I haven't been affected by that because, again, I don't make it all the way to the top, but I've seen it happen, especially when some of the content creators stream at the high end. I see it, and I'm like, damn, that sucks. That's all I say because, whoa. That's all I say because that's what I see, but I don't know. I hope that gets fixed as well. The climbing of it, I think they talked about that as well. When it comes to how they're going to climb, they're looking into win-loss ratios and stuff. How people climb, the way I climb, where I literally match up people with where I have a huge advantage, or we have similar accounts. But you can tell certain champions are not awakened, certain champions are very low sig, and sometimes my sig 200. Champion gives me a huge benefit. Overall, guys, the conclusion of this, here's this last, all these bullet points are important, but guys, I don't, what are your thoughts on all this? We can discuss this in a live stream. We'll make a point here maybe tonight, but overall, I'm happy that they spoke about this. I am happy that they're talking about this. They're open and acknowledging the fact that there is an issue. The time is concerning, as I do see that there's going to be probably two things. Obviously, people like myself read this, watch this videos, modders, people that are cheating, watch this, read this, and they're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna get away with it for another maybe 2-3 seasons before I have to hang up the my mods, you know. So sucks for that, but I mean, overall, I hope to see these changes being implemented. And I mean, like I said, this is a foundation to hopefully we can come back and say, okay, some of these points were talked about, have they been fixed, and so on. And there's more situations that are going to come as the seasons develop, and I hope that Kabam is open to be like, okay, let us know, and we're going to fix that right now. But guys, a lot of talking about these this post. There's a lot more. There's more to talk. We can literally just sit here and have a conversation. But the cheating, again, guys, the cheating is a huge concern. The bugs along with it. But there's all these small concerns that are still in the battlegrounds that I'm glad they're focusing on. But dude, hopefully this gets fixed like sooner than later. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Peace.